Hello, welcome to the Take 1.5 podcast. This is your host, Min Lee. Why don't you guys tell us about yourselves, who you are, what you do, and things like that. And also, maybe we could talk about your restaurant.
Sounds good. You want to go? You start?
I'm Jennifer Tran. I am the co-owner and general manager at Jeong Restaurant. Dave and I met over about 16 years ago in culinary school in New York. We opened up our first iteration in 2015 in a food court stall. We decided to start small, so we did a small food court stall, and we were there for about 3 years. And then now we are in our 6th year at Jeong Restaurant in Chicago.
Yeah, very good.
Who are you?
I'm Dave Park. I'm the chef and co-owner of Jeong Restaurant. And yeah.
Cool. So Jeong Restaurant, where is it located? It's in Chicago, I know, but where? Like, is it downtown or?
Yeah, so we're 5 minutes from downtown. So we're in West Town, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I looked at some of videos of your restaurant, like, and photos of people put up. It looks really, I'm always interested in the interior of places.
Mhm.
It looks really, really amazing. Did you guys design or did you hire a designer? How did you come up with the decor theme?
We designed it ourselves with the
Oh.
help of our contractor and an architect. So the whole restaurant is supposed to feel like a modern Korean home. So simple, but yet still cozy. Yeah.
I love it. It's really beautiful and tastefully done. I feel like I should come out to the area just to visit your restaurant.
That'd be so fun. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely, you should, definitely.
So, going back to the restaurant, I was looking at your menus, and I find it so interesting how everything has, I don't know the correct terms to use here, so help me out, but like Korean flavor or some sort of Koreanness or some Asian flavor to everything. So one thing I noticed was like kimchi butter something. I was like, oh, I wonder how that tastes. How do you guys come up with these menu items and like flavors? It's so intriguing.
It's
Well-
all Dave, yeah.
I mean, Jen helps me a lot. She's like my soundboard. I'll like literally come to her and be like, how does this sound? Or she'll be like, oh, this sounds cool. Why don't you try that? And then I'll kind of work off of that. But a lot of the food that we do at Chung and even at Hanbun was all foods that I kind of grew up on. Things that I remember fondly or just things that I remember tasting. And I always wanted to put stuff on the menu that I enjoyed eating. So that's why I think it just makes it a little bit more special for me when I could put it on the menu. But ultimately, it's just my childhood. It's just things that I grew up eating that I have fond memories of, especially going to markets with my grandma or having little potluck at home or people cooking at home and just tasting those things. I try to take that and then modernize it and put it in our menu so that other, I guess, Americans could try it. But it's just a little bit more friendly towards the American palate, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So it's milder.
Yes, in some ways.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I try to keep the soul of Korean food, like Korean cuisine, intact, and modernize it a little bit, in a sense that because I mean my upbringing is in America, so and then my training is in French or in background in Western cuisine. So I try to kind of mold the two together, and make it my own.
That sounds so amazing to me because I mean I have no idea how that works out, but it's just hearing that it's just like wow, it's like it's like science, it's like art, right? I mean it is art, yes. You're laughing at me.
Yeah. And the menu, I think, is like a really like lovely reflection of Dave because it's like he's Korean rooted. His first memories and flavor profiles are Korean flavors, but his training his youth and adulthood is all here in the States and working at all these different restaurants. So it's like a combination and like an evolution of what Dave has become growing up here, being an immigrant coming here, and just yeah. So it's a nice like hybrid,
Yeah.
and that's what Chung is.
That you said is so lovely. I love how you said it's a beautiful reflection of who Dave is and the palettes that he grew up with. And yeah, I just cannot wrap my mind around it. Going, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's really amazing. Because I've heard of other like chefs who has like Asian background, and they use like the soy flavor and that sort of like notes. Is that right? In their cooking. And it sounded kind of obvious to me, like, oh yeah, they would use those type of like well-known like flavors and ingredients in their cooking, and they kind of modernize it to suit like the public palate of. Describe the taste of kimchi butter to me, please.
What you're referring to might be the brown butter kimchi mochi.
That's right.
So I mean, classically kimchi, like as a Korean American or even as a Korean, you'll be eating kimchi pretty much with every meal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is more iconic than kimchi? But every time you have an American food, like let's say pizza, hamburger, or hot dogs, what every Korean parent has told their kid is like, I want some kimchi. So it cuts through all the fat. So the reason why the kimchi and butter, and especially brown butter, work so well is that there's so much fat in butter, and then the kimchi has so much acid, and it cuts through the richness. So it has this nutty, aromatic, like toasted almond, toasted hazelnut kind of qualities, with slight, like milky, like texture, like kind of creamy, unctuous texture, with little funky, spicy, tart notes of kimchi that cuts through all the richness. And so when you bind those two together, it makes a very balanced sauce of fat and acid.
Wow. Wow, David, you're like a scientist. That sounds amazing. I must try it.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So you guys have tasting menus, or do you have like how does your tell us about your restaurant? How does it?
Yeah, so initially when we first opened in 2019, we had two menus. So we had a tasting menu as well as a la carte menu. And then a year later, we did a little pause due to COVID, and so we did carry out and things like that. And then when we reopened the dining room, due to the spacing requirements, we decided to only do tasting menu only. And we've been a tasting menu format only restaurant since then, and it's been great. Yeah.
Wow. Tasting menu only. How many courses is that?
It's 8 courses.
Oh. And it starts from appetizer to dessert, I'm assuming?
Yep. Yeah. 2 desserts at the end.
2 desserts. What kind of
Yeah.
desserts do you serve? I'm a dessert person, although I shouldn't
Yeah,
be.
we call it a pre-dessert, and then we have a final dessert. But right now, the pre-dessert is a 깻잎. So we take Korean perilla leaf, and then we turn it into ice, like shaved ice, and then we serve it with yogurt and chame. So it's like a Korean yogurt pudding with compressed chame, with a gelée made from the compressing liquid, as well as buckwheat crunch, buckwheat and a white chocolate crunch.
Wow. That sounds
Yeah.
pretty. I can't even like imagine what that would taste like together. Oh my gosh, curiosity. You're like evoking my curiosity here. Do you serve like alcohol with it, like makgeolli or soju or something like that in your tasting menu? Or is
We do wine pairings and stuff like that. I try to keep the wine pairing more so like wines. But we do have Korean sojus, we do have makgeolli, we do have other Korean spirits, and we have sakes.
sounds wonderful. Jen, so as a general manager, what do you do at Chung? Or Chung or Chung?
Chung. Yeah, well, it's Chung, right? Like it's that word, the Korean word for bond and bondness, like the
Mm-hmm.
bonding,
Mm-hmm.
as well as last name, my grandma's last name.
How does she
She's in
feel
Jersey.
about you guys naming your restaurant after her?
I think she was definitely happy. She's a little bit kind of on and off right now, but she was definitely very excited. Yeah.
She must have been so proud.
Yeah, I think so. Silently, right? She won't say it to
Silently.
you, but I know that she was feeling it.
Yeah, the Korean way. Like she would give you like extra serving of fruit or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. So back to your question, Jen. What do you do as a general manager at Chung?
So I think for most small business owners, it's quite similar in answer. A little bit of everything. So let's see, employee management. We do marketing, payroll, all menu changes in regards to reprints, customer relations, website, social media,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Yeah, and then Dave and I still work service every single night as well.
Oh,
So yeah, so
She's saying it lightly in a sense. She knows. She does a lot.
yeah.
Without it, the restaurant, like I'm not even joking, like the restaurant would not exist. Yeah.
we both work well. Without Dave, there's no food.
Yeah.
Without them, there's no business.
You guys are in your own elements separately but together.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David, you're like in the kitchen mostly doing the cooking and preparing and all that.
He does all the beverages as well. So he does the cocktail creations, wine pairing, and he
Wow.
builds the wine too. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
oh wow. So it's more it sounds to me like a very intimate setting at your restaurant when you dine there.
I would say so.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. So I'm, like because I have, met many Asian Americans, especially immigrant families, and we people imagine their children growing up to be like doctors and lawyers and engineers, and these are the typical like stereotypical Asian American like career path. And you, David and Jen, both took something I feel like is pretty different than the regular stereotypical Asian kid career, right? Yes.
Yeah.
which I think is like totally amazing. I mean, like, oh my God, that's so great. But tell us, how did your family like receive that? Like how did, I'm sure it was a process of you going through schooling and training and all that, but what was your family like? Were they supportive? Were they like, what are you talking about? How was that like?
You want to take it first?
So I've always been I've always really loved food since I was little, like watched cooking shows since I was 6 years old. So my families are always have known that I was going to be in food or involved in food in some sort of form or way. And so they've always been very supportive of it. So yeah, no, I'm very lucky. I know, especially for an immigrant family, I'm very lucky. They were very supportive of it, for sure.
Yeah, great.
And for me, I guess my parents were very supportive too. They never said no, you shouldn't do that. Like this is not what I had in mind for you. When I told them that I think that I want to get into cooking and want to work in restaurants and eventually open up a restaurant, they just said okay. I mean, I think they trusted me. They let me be. I think they were a little worried the fact that it's not an easy business, and I think they understood. So obviously, I think every parent probably understands that they want their kids to have a better life, and they don't want them to work so hard. But I think that was their biggest concern was like, you're gonna have to work so hard. Like, is it gonna be okay? But besides that, they gave me their blessing right away. I didn't have to fight for anything, and they just let me do it.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, totally. Because I know David's parents, I could totally see them. I really admire that about them. I really do.
Yeah, they're sweet people.
Yeah, they're wonderful people. Um, So I know, Jen, you were born in the States, correct? Where'd you grow up? Which city?
I grew up in Cicero, Illinois, so that's about 20 minutes outside of Chicago.
Oh, okay. So back home. You're back
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and your parents were in their business, or were they working? Like,
Yeah, so my mom has always worked in retail,
mhm.
and then my dad was a sheet metal designer.
Wow, sounds cool. I don't know what that means, but sounds great. Yeah. So if you were to look back at your childhood and watching your parents, who obviously worked very hard in their own areas, of course, and also especially after coming to the States, especially for David's parents, and my parents too, they work very hard. They work, I don't know how many hours, David. Would you say like 10, 12 hours per day? Something like that, right? Yeah. So what would you say is one thing that you guys picked up from your parents' work ethics, growing up in immigrant families, or even if it was non-immigrant? Well, I guess it is an immigrant family for you. Yeah. So growing up in your families, watching your parents, what would you say would be one work ethics or ethic that you guys picked up, with knowing or without knowing?
I think for me, especially because my parents came here when they were pretty young. They were only 7. My mom was 17. My dad was 19, and they didn't know a lick of English. And they always support. I have 2 sisters. I'm one of 3. And then so growing up, there was always someone living with us, like either my mom's 3 brothers or family that was coming over from Vietnam. When they were immigrating over, so we were always kind of that like that host family that has everyone over. On top of that, them working all the time and raising us and helping their family. It's just in the language barrier, nothing was never I can't do it. It's always more so how can I do it? So them being so resilient and being able to just always figure out how to do it on their own, which is really impressive because back then there's no online resources. There's no Google. You can't just go on YouTube and find a tutorial. It's just impressive seeing how my parents were able to figure it out on their own without not many resources at all because we didn't have much family here either.
Yeah.
So, and so that definitely instilled a lot of work ethic into me. So it's just, you just have to do it.
Wow.
They are very good at that. Yeah.
No.
That's amazing. I saw somewhere one that reminds me your story of replace why with how. Yeah, that totally reminded me of what you just said about your parents. And yeah, they immigrant families are definitely very resilient. I mean, we survive, right? With grit. We don't give up. We figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. How about, what would you say, David?
I think for me, I think what I took away the most was, I think, their love. Because no matter how many hours they had to work, if they had to work 6 to 7 days a week, I don't think they ever took it out on us, and they always made sure that we were taken care of. And I think that's something that you, as a kid, you take for granted. You don't even think about it. But then I think that's the biggest thing I took away is that I know that they were working hard for not much, and for them to come home and be okay and put food on the table, smile, clean, and do all these like chores around the house. Like I think it showed that they're my parents and they wanted to take care of us. I think that was the biggest thing.
Wow, that's really nice that you actually recognize that. Now you're older, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, when we're younger, we just, like you said, we totally take it for granted. But now we're older, little older. How old are you now? I'll take this out of the.
It's okay.
Can you believe it? Jen and I are both actually 34.
Okay.
Yeah, we're turning 35 in like
Next
a month.
month,
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So nice. Such a great age. It really is. I wish I was 35. I really do. Oh, so nice. That's such a great age. Not too young. You're mature enough,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
You know what life
Mhm.
means, but
Yeah.
you are on your way of accomplishing whatever your dream is and building your life, and you're actually what do you call it? Independent enough,
Yeah.
and so it's such a wonderful enjoy, guys.
No, thank you.
Will do.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you guys have a dogs? I
Yep, 2 dogs.
two dogs.
Oh,
Yeah.
a dog mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Everyone has dogs now. All my kids have dogs. Well, not all. The boys don't, but my girls do. And I don't know. Every time they come, they bring their dogs, and I'm like, okay, no more dogs because they come ruin my rug. And why is that? What do you guys do in your free time? Do you have any free time?
We do.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. I mean, in my free time, I definitely enjoy tennis. Is my number one.
Mm.
So every chance I get, I'll try to play tennis. That's just like it's for me to like, I guess, de-stress and just kind of do what I like. I love doing and enjoy doing. Keep myself busy.
Yeah. Dave and I try to just catch up, especially because Dave and I are a couple and we work together. And so it's important for us to do things that are detached from the restaurant. So we're very chill creatures. So we'll just watch K-dramas,
Yeah. A lot of that.
watch movies, and we like to go on walks a lot, hang out with our dogs, see our friends and family. So that's typically what we like to do.
That's cool. What K-drama are you watching now these days?
The Miss Day and Night, right?
Miss Day and Night. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Castaway Diva. We're still watching through.
I
I think that's it for now. Yeah, we try to like keep up with like maybe one or two at a time.
Yeah.
And then once we finish, we go to the next.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to catch up. I haven't seen those yet. So, you know what I picked up just you guys, because you said you guys have pretty good amount of free time. You try to play tennis and do things together and separately. How many hours would you say you work per week?
Oh.
That was. It's a.
Physically in the restaurant, so we'll probably be there, honestly, anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. And we're open 4 days a week.
Okay.
We're open 4 days a week, close 3 days, which is really important to us. So while we're there, 12 to 16 hours when we're there, and then I want to say outside of work, because there's always so much admin stuff and
Right.
emails, marketing, and accounting. I want to say maybe another, maybe 10 hours outside of that too. Yeah.
So you kind of
Yeah.
ramp in everything and then take 3 days off fully per week?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, because it's important, especially because it's such a customer-facing business. If someone emails or things like that, if there's a party a private event that we're organizing and things like that, and then a lot of our business meetings and things like that, we'll typically do it on days that we're not open because we know that we're going to be busy those days. So we'll schedule it on the days that we're closed.
Got it.
Like Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are business owners. It's not going to be like 9 to 5, obviously. So I understand that. But what I was getting at was you guys have like that balance. You do a lot for free time, something for couple time. Enjoy that. I feel like that's a huge, vastly different from what we grew up in. Like, our parents work almost 7 days a week. So 6 days fully, and then Sunday at church, most likely. So that's good that you guys have that mindset of, that's really wonderful to see that. New generation.
It is funny.
Yeah.
But you need it. I think as a human being, you need it.
For sure.
I think I don't even know how our parents and parents prior, like I don't know how they manage.
Yeah.
That's a toll it's gonna take on your body and your mind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, burnout.
Yeah, because like now that we're in our mid-30s, pretty much all of our friends are having children, things like that. Just thinking about like how did our parents do it? How did they have kids and go to work? It's crazy because like daycare is just so expensive. There was no daycare back then.
Yeah, I don't think any of us daycare.
Yeah, so it's just impressive to think of how they did it.
Right.
And no maternity either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. I love to read like books by Asian American authors. And a lot of those books, it's fiction, but still talks about how Asian American immigrants live, with childcare and working and all these family responsibilities. And it's really interesting how we are so like driven to a fault, right? We drive and go and go and go and go. And that's how most of us grew up. And it's interesting to watch the next generation, like you guys, kind of use that as a foundation, and build your own lives differently. So it's a really, if we wanted to, it could be such a powerful foundation for us to build upon, that we have that work ethic and that family values and all these things that not everybody experience. I mean, we may know about them, but like we literally experience those things growing up. So it's really, really interesting and wonderful to see. So David, tell me, I mean, Jen, you too, you guys went to, you met in school, culinary school. Which one was this?
Yeah. It's a Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park in New York.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So do you guys have like majors or like specialties? Or what do you like? How does it work? Yeah, you're good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
So I got an associate's at the CIA. So they call it the CIA. And then associates in culinary arts. Yeah. And then Jen went for associates in baking and pastry.
Yeah, and then there's an option to continue to get your bachelor's as well. And I think they've added more programs since we went 16 years ago. But I think there's a lot more programs now, like nutrition. Then there was always hospitality, business management, and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you're the dessert person, Jen? Baking and pastry?
Not at all.
No, not really?
No, not anymore. Dave does it all. Yeah.
Good for a menu, but Jen's very good. Like, and then she also makes our takeaways. So we serve out like a little cupcake, a chocolate cupcake, with a poricha, dusting on top. And then this is what we do for like birthdays for our guests that come in.
Oh,
so Jen bakes those and makes pipes those, but
that's cool. Love that. So if there was a kid who's into cooking and want to go into this career path, what would you recommend, and how does one do it?
We would recommend this person to work in a restaurant first. Work in restaurants, see how they like it. At real world experiences is what they should see first.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing like the TV. Little
Not
will
like
they
Bear.
realize. No. Little do they know it's like there's cooking involved, but there's such a big part of it is cleaning. A big part of it is pretty monotonous because it's the same things you're cooking over and over again. But yeah, I think going out there and seeing if you really like it before you dive in, and especially if you go to culinary school, because that's quite expensive as well. And before you make that commitment, because it's not like it is a lucrative career either. So it's hard work. You come out, might be hard to pay back those loans too. So it's just maybe work the experience and see if you really like it.
Jim said it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, work in kitchens.
Work
Yeah,
in the
work in
kitchen.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we actually have a summer. So we have a summer intern right now. He's 16. He just turned 17, and then just seeing his thought process, seeing how it really is in the kitchen from when he first started, it's changed. So he's like realizing, because there's also different types of restaurants and kitchens. Like there's fast casual, high volume, fine dining, things like that. For him to just figure out what type of environment and pace that he likes as well has been interesting, and things that he didn't even think of either before. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. True. I mean, I think that first and foremost, like the first thing I would say is jokingly, and maybe kind of seriously at the same time, but it's like find a different job, like find a different career. Like there's far easier stuff out there for you to do. But then if you really actually had to and wanted to cook and wanted to work in restaurants and maybe own a restaurant, yeah,
Like you do.
like love it, like truly embrace and love it. Because if you don't love it,
It's gonna be
and
a hard
yeah,
time.
like it's just not, it's not for
Mhm.
everybody.
Mm.
Do it as a hobby, like cooking at home as a hobby. It's fantastic for so many people. But once you start doing it on a daily basis and you're grinding every day, it's hard to want to come home and cook, which is the first thing that you fell in love with in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like I think you have to work on that balance too and see if you actually truly want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I would think, oh yeah, we go through culinary school, something prestigious as CIA, and after I graduate, I'm gonna be hired at this like 5-star restaurant and make lots of money and become this fancy chef. But it's not like that, huh?
You gotta. I mean, like you gotta. I guess they say you gotta pay your dues, right? You have to work from ground up, and you have to be willing to put in the dirty work. Like you have to do dishes, you have to sweep the floors, you have to mop, you have to learn all these things before you could say I'm gonna make a six-figure salary somewhere.
So you went through all these stages, David, you're saying?
I would say, I mean, I've been fortunate the most. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I did put in my time. I started. I mean, before culinary school, my first job was dishwashing. I started dishwashing, and that's probably still one of my favorite places in the kitchen is dishwashing.
Oh,
I take pride in making sure that the dishes are clean, things are cleaned nicely, scrubbed nicely. Like those are the little things that I've always enjoyed. But I mean, it's just me. Like it's just my personality too.
yeah.
And I like things done a certain way. Like it's just something that's ingrained in me since I was a little kid. But yeah, working as a line cook, working as a prep cook, working as a dishwasher, working through, and eventually opening up our first spot at Hanbun. Yeah, I think I've come a long way, and I'm still growing now.
Yeah.
I learn stuff every day.
Of course.
Trying to learn how to work with people, how to understand people, because that's one of the hardest things for me. Is I think the social relationships with your employees and your staff and people that come in too. Just building the relationship and bond there is something that I work on.
It's amazing. That's really impressive. I'm so impressed. I know the more and more, the more and more I, talk with younger. I mean, a lot of people are younger than me. I don't know how I got to this age, but anyway, the more and more I talk to younger people, I'm like, even though they're not my children or I have anything to do with how they turned out, I'm like just like so proud of them. It makes me so happy. I guess it's the mom thing.
Yeah. I mean, you have kids, you'll always be a mom.
Yes, I do, David. I know you remember Caleb, right? Remember Caleb was
Oh,
a
I
baby?
do. I remember when he was a little baby.
Yeah, he's 22.
Oh my
I
God.
I know. I have really good amount of things, but I do have a burning question, David. A burning question.
Any question? Okay.
I'm curious.
I know.
So, I've been watching The Bear.
How did I know this was gonna go there?
But my question is not about The Bear. It'll take another 30 minutes to go that direction. But I really do wonder, do your staff in the kitchen call you? Do they yell out, "Yes, chef"?
Sometimes, some things they do. There are certain restaurants that's designed for. It's everything in harmony, everything in unison. You essentially, it's the hierarchy of the kitchen and the restaurant, where chef like is kind of like the top, right? And he or she is at the top, and everyone responds back to what he says or she says to yes chef or no chef. But it's just, I think it just shows you kind of like that army mentality. It's called the French like brigade system. It's very old school, but it is more geared towards like fine dining, like super high end, where everything is responded in the same way by everybody. Yeah. Here, I feel like Jen and I are a little bit more like more relaxed. We try to be. We're a little bit more like family-esque. We have a very small team. We've known a lot of them for super long time. And we try to keep it more casual. But obviously, we still want to have that relationship where it's obviously still our place and this is the business first. But second, you are our employee, but you're also our family. So we treat it that way. If they want to call me and say yes, chef, like cool. But I'm not going to be like demanding everybody, no, you say yes, chef, and everyone does it at the same time.
I think too, because even though if they all say yes, chef, it's also kind of like an acknowledgement that you heard what he said. Like, hey guys, we're fired on five fish, and they're like, yes, chef, because it's just like, okay, I heard you.
Right.
So it's
Communication is important when you're responding to every little ticket that's coming in or everything that has to go out. You have to hear each other, otherwise it's just like a free for all.
So the short answer to this is sometimes.
That's the best way to say it. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
That's pretty cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just imagining in my head go, oh, I wonder. Because I mean, David's pretty like chill guy, so I don't know how he is in the kitchen.
I definitely grew up a little bit. I definitely toned down a lot. I think I was a little bit more like obsessive when I was younger. Now I'm just like, all right.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yay! That's great. Oh, I really enjoyed this conversation with you and David and Jen. Yeah, it was really fun for me. I hope it was fun for you.
It was. Yeah.
So yeah, I will let you know when this episode airs or uploaded, whatever the term is. And yeah, we'll see. I think a lot of people will find it interesting and inspiring of your, from your story, and really interested in visiting Jeong, as I am. Yeah,
we'd love to have you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to make it happen. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us again.
Yeah, it's My pleasure.